Am I the a-hole for shaming my sister, who's a bridesmaid, for demanding she be maid of honor instead of me? My F26 older sister, F28, has made me maid of honor for her wedding in 1 month, and half sister, F21, is throwing a fit. So for background, my sister Laura and I were raised by our mom without a dad for the first 5-ish years of my life. It was just the three of us until my mom met my stepdad. They got married and had our little sister, Carrie, not long after. My stepdad is an awesome guy. Before he came along, Laura, Mom and I lived in a tiny apartment with nothing much but second-hand items and each other. But we were happy because we had a roof over our head and food on the table. My stepdad has an excellent job, so once they married and had Carrie, we moved into a nice big house, a mansion compared to our apartment, and started getting nice gifts at Christmas time and birthdays. This is what Carrie grew up with, and whereas we grew up with a lot of it too, I don't think it affected us as bad because we remember what it's like to be frugal and to not have much. My mom to this day is still very frugal, and we love to go thrifting or making our own items like we used to anyways, so Laura and I are very separate from Carrie in that regard. Carrie has always been spoiled, but not in a throw a tantrum and ask daddy for a new car way, but she'll ask for a $500 birthday cake and get it, buy name brand things only, and if she can't have something for whatever reason, she'll pout for 3 days and be moody. So surprise surprise, she still lives with mom and dad and doesn't have a job of her own, and they seem to be fine with it, but whatever. Anyways, Laura's boyfriend of 6 years proposed last year and we were all thrilled. He's a great guy and we all love him. Back when she first got engaged, she gave me, her friend Charlotte and Carrie a box of beautiful earrings that said, "Will you be a bridesmaid?" And mine said maid of honor. We were all giddy and started coming up with ideas and discussing colors and cakes and all that fun stuff. But they decided to wait a year to save and to figure out what they wanted. Well, 4 months ago Laura announced she was pregnant, and as a family we were all excited. All except Carrie, who remained quiet and didn't say much about it. Laura then explained that her and Alan decided they want to have the wedding in 2 months, with about 30-40 people so that they can really celebrate before the baby. Stepdad offered them $10,000 so they could have their dream wedding, but due to the circumstances they asked if they could use most of that money on a house they were looking at instead, and he agreed. So Charlotte, Laura, Mom and I have been frantically planning things, and it's been a lot of fun, except for the fact that Carrie hasn't said much about it from the start, and whenever we start wedding planning she either goes on her phone or will not pay much attention. Finally Laura had a talk and asked her for more input and to participate more, and Carrie agreed. When we were on our way to the dollar store to pick up some wedding decorations, Carrie scoffed and said, "Dollar store decorations? That's so tacky." But we ignored her and did our thing. When we asked if she would help us make handmade invitations, she complained again and said it'll look like a bunch of preschoolers made it, and just stomped away. Finally, just recently we were all dress shopping, and Laura told us we can pick whatever dress we want as long as it's blue, because she wants it to be simple and we would be paying for it ourselves. So Mom, Charlotte and I went into H&M and found beautiful blue summer maxi dresses, different styles. Mom had lace, mine is a floral cotton, and Laura thought they were perfect. Except Carrie, of course, and she wanted to buy this $2,000 bridesmaid designer gown she found online. My mom told her that was ridiculous. Laura's gown didn't even cost that much. So Carrie, of course, pouted and whined, so Mom gave in and we all went to this fancy bridal shop. Carrie right away found a pink blush gown that she had to wear. But it was $1,000. Mom said a firm no. Plus it's not even blue like the other bridesmaids. My sister then said blue was the stupidest color for a bridesmaid dress because we don't even live near the ocean. Anyways, we all left and she had her little pout, and Mom lectured her and told her this is a frugal wedding. It's in our backyard, barbecue with only 30-40 people, and so she doesn't need a $2,000 designer dress of any kind. Fast forward to a few days later and Carrie says she found a dress to wear that she already had in her closet. Plus it was blue. So we thought terrific. But when we went over to Mom and Dad's, Carrie strutted out in her old prom dress from high school, which is basically a puffy ball gown bedazzled with jewels. And as anyone does after high school, she grew out of it, so her boobs were spilling out and it overall was not flattering. On top of all that, she was wearing a tiara full of sparkling jewels that she claimed she bought just for the wedding. Mom and Laura were silent, and finally I felt I had enough, so I snapped and told her she couldn't possibly be serious. Wearing a dress fancier than the bride is one thing, having your boobs spill out is another, but also wearing a crown on top of that? Who does she think she is? Carrie crossed her arms and said, "I'm the maid of honor, of course I'm going to wear a crown." This is when we all get silent until Laura speaks up and says, "Maid of honor? I made Amy maid of honor. You and Charlotte are the bridesmaids." Well, this triggered Carrie and she began screeching, "What do you mean I am not maid of honor? You told me I was." When?